What's up, fam? This is the Positive Perspectives Podcast, and I'm your host, Coach Jason Leon. We have a brief but impactful show for you today. We're talking about dealing with loss, and you know how things go. We'll see where that takes us. Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, fam? This is Coach Jason Leon, and today on the Positive Perspectives Podcast, we are going to be talking about end-of-life issues, things that affect all of us at some point in our lives, disease processes, just natural causes, or what have you. There's a lot of things that happen to a lot of people that we love. I know that mental health care isn't as taboo as it used to be in a lot of cases, but in some cases, there are still folks that are just like there's folks that are food insecure. I think there's a lot of folks that are mental health insecure as well, and they just don't have access to certain resources, and it could be based upon your income, the type of insurance you have, or the fact that you just can't get that time off from work to take care of the things that you need to take care of. So you just keep your head down and just keep going. And I'm curious as to who out there have some legitimate issues that they know that they need to take care of, but they just don't have the time or the money or the resources to be able to take care of those things. And there's an interesting book, and it's about the body keeping the score. And a lot of times we go through situations and we go through a lot of different things in our lives that we don't make the time to talk to someone about and deal with those things. And made me think about that movie that just came out recently, the Tyler Perry movie, Divorce in the Black. And there's a lot to be learned from that movie. Whether you are a Tyler Perry fan or not, that's really not important. But what is important is the topic that he tackled in that movie. He didn't go deep into it, but for the folks that were really paying attention to the storyline, they would notice, and I'm going to try not to give any spoilers away here, but they would know that there was definitely some trauma. And if the young man had gotten the help that he needed, then a lot of the things that happened wouldn't have transpired. And I would say the same thing for the mom and for the rest of the family members that were traumatized. And it was just random trauma just thrown around all over the place. And it just kept manifesting itself in different ways. And it ended up culminating into a very disastrous situation. You don't want those types of things to happen. And you know that those things can be headed off if we would just get the help that we need, but we don't get the help that we need because of the way that we think about things, or the fact that we think we may not need help. I know that this particular situation, it was set in somewhat of a rural area. In that situation, mental health care wasn't what we would consider to be a norm. It would be considered to be something that would be very unusual. And people just don't want to share their darkest secrets. And sometimes that stuff is painful to have to deal with and to think about. So, as a non professional movie critic, maybe if they had gone deeper into the history of the family to figure out how this had even started, if I used some critical thinking, I probably would bet that the generational trauma started probably hundreds of years in the past. Things that we don't like to talk about in America, but sometimes it requires moving away from those areas. That's part of it. There is a spiritual aspect as well, because I believe in the biopsychosocial spiritual way of thinking about things. I don't think it's just a matter of, you just get your healing from talking to a therapist. I think there's a lot more that goes into it. As a believer, I think that you would need to get some spiritual help, some help from on high, to help out with those things that can't be resolved in the therapist chair. So just my take on it. I know there's some folks out there that agree with me on that, and there's some folks that vehemently disagree, and I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, we gotta keep on moving and keep on doing the best that we know how to do. Funny how I went to this whole mental health angle, and I was talking about grief and bereavement, but we've all lost folks that we really cared about, and sometimes it was unexpected, and sometimes it was a release when they did pass away. And I think that's important that you find someone to talk to about those things, and really just work your way through it. And sometimes loss isn't always death either. Sometimes loss is the loss of a relationship. Sometimes it's the loss of something that you valued. I'm not talking about your favorite baseball or anything like that. I'm talking about like the loss of a relationship that you valued. When there's a divorce of sorts, and that happens, and it signifies some type of death because that thing is no longer in your life as it used to be. It's no longer the norm of your life. It's a past thing. So I think we really got to learn to talk to people about those things. I think we also need to learn how to pray about those things as well, and not just keep it all inside, because those things have a funny way of manifesting themselves in other ways. But at any rate, I thank you for joining me today on the Positive Perspectives podcast, and hope you join me next time, and we'll discuss some more things that shape your world. Peace out. Just wanna